For today's lesson, we are going to discuss on how to determine a function when the given relation is defined through mapping. Okay, so as you can see these given figures, this is a type of a relation, no, that is defined through mapping. Okay, so but before we answer, we proceed with our examples. No, so let's define first what is a function. So a function is a relation where each element in the domain, so our domain is our input, the input values, or the x values, is related to only one value in the range. Okay, take note, related to only one value in the range. Okay, yung range natin, this is our output values or the y values. Okay, now to determine a function when the given relation is defined through mapping, ang gagawin lang natin is to look, okay, is to look into our domain, okay, the elements of the domain. So in this example, okay, so this is our elements, okay, ito yung mga elements natin sa ating domain, no? We have here 1, the 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now it is a function when each element, okay, when each element in the domain is mapped to only one element in the range. Okay, again, it is a function when each element, okay, each element in the domain or the x values is mapped to only one element in the y. So here, as you can see, 1 is mapped to 3 only. Okay, 2 is mapped to 5 only. 3 is mapped to 9 only. Then 4 is mapped to 17 only. And 5 is mapped to 33. As you can see, each element, no, each element in the domain, okay, this element or in the x values is mapped to only one value in the y, okay, which is our range, no? So therefore, this type of relation is a function. Okay, this is a function. Now let's proceed to our second example. So here we have the element of our domain, or the element of our x. Okay, the x values, we have 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, as you can see, 5 here, no, 5 is being mapped to 1 only, no. 6 is mapped to 0. Okay, 7, okay, is mapped to 1. Okay, then 8 is mapped to 0. Then 9 is mapped to 0 also. Now take note, don't get confused with this. Okay, when a function is defined as a mapping, ang titingnan lang natin is the x elements or the element of the x. If each element in the x, no, is mapped to only one value in the range, then that is a function. So in this case, say 5 is only mapped to 1. Okay, it's only mapped to 1. See 6 is only mapped to 0. 7 is only mapped to 1. 8 is only mapped to 0. Then 9 is also mapped only to 0. So therefore, this is still a function. Okay, because each element in the domain or the x values is mapped to only one value in the range. Okay, so this is a function. Now let's proceed to our last example, the last figure. So as you can see here, there are two elements, no? There are two elements in the domain, or the x value, which is mapped to two elements in the y. These are the 7 and 2. As you can see here, see 7 is mapped to 11 and 13. Okay? Same with 2, which is mapped also with 17 and 19. So as you can see, there are two elements here in the domain, no, that is mapped, okay, that is mapped to more than one element in the y. Take note, by definition, it is a function when the domain is related to only one value in the range. In this case, since 7 is mapped to 11 and 13, two values in the y, and also with 2, which is mapped to two elements in the y, which is 17 and 19. So therefore, this type of relation is not, okay, not a function. Okay? So this is not a function because there are two elements in the domain or the x value that is mapped to more than one element in the y. Okay, and these elements, the elements here is 7 and 2. So that makes it not a function. Okay, but that's how you determine a function if the given relation is defined through mapping. Take note, it is a function when each element in the X or in the domain is mapped to only one value in the range or the Y values.